Hello folks, it is me, I'm Biggie, and I am back, and by popular request, we're gonna put Damon Hillstrom aside, and we're gonna have a look at Iron Fist's newest uniform. Iron Fist, as you know, he's one of the earliest characters you can recruit in the game, and recently, in the newest season of PvP, not PvP, crying out loud, newest season of the story, you could get his newest uniform once you complete other tasks, which I'm almost done with, by the way. But I will actually talk to you about what Iron Fist is capable of. But you probably know, Iron Fist is a little bit on the well, this interface, actually, not Iron Fist, this interface is on a little bit on the unintuitive side, so I'm gonna switch over to the wiki. So bear with me for a moment, folks, I'll be right back. Alright, so here's Iron Fist and his classic uniform, and we are here at the wiki. I'm gonna put the link of this wiki down below so you could actually look at and reference this later. Dating back a little bit, Iron Fist is one of the first characters you can recruit in this game. He's one of those 15 command point, nobody wants kind of character, unfortunately. He's not bad. He's not a bad character by any means, any stretch of the imagination, but he is a very basic, very simple to play character. And you can see here, his skills are very, very basic. He's got all of his skills are either buffs or under melee, so you could see that he is a mixed character. He could actually, his damage dealings involve setting up combos and then exploiting those combos with the Iron Fist, which is fine. And one of the strengths that he had back when he was earlier in the game is that he could actually Kunlun combo, then Iron Fist another infiltrator, and then he'll set up the combo continuously, and you just repeatedly Iron Fist your opponent until they die. And that's how it used to work. And now, now the game's got a little bit more complicated. You can see that there's the Heart of Shou Lao and Healing Chi have been changed a little bit. Healing Chi now, Healing Ki actually removes the debuff threat and actually recharges stamina of allies instead of healing them HP now, which I don't like very much, but it is actually very useful. You have Heart of Shou Lao now that actually is tenacious, which means that it can be used while stunned. So basically, Heart of Shou Lao increases all stats and actually prevents debuffs multiple times. So what we have here is a character that's pretty much immune to status effects. So as soon as you get status effects, you have one of the 3 rounds to get Heart of Shou Lao to cool yourself down, remove debuffs, and you can use Healing Chi to remove the debuffs on our allies. He's very good at removing debuffs, and he's got very, very good damage options. So that is what we start off with. Okay, so this is the Heroic Age version of Iron Fist. His uniform is all white and stuff. That's cool. First off, you probably want to notice that combo breaker ability. The combo breaker ability I didn't mention earlier is he still has it in his normal uniform, but his combo breaker ability is when an enemy attacks to perform or a counter attack or a follow-up attack, Iron Fist has a chance to prevent and counter that attack. The issue about this combo breaker is that it is broken. It is not really usable yet, but this will be, once this actually gets sorted and gets working, this will be very, very strong, because we have a very counter-attack heavy, very follow-up attack heavy kind of meta. That's one thing that's being said, and he basically able to deal this against other scrappers now that he could actually has Bruiser uniform. But this is a very, very strong skill, and like I said, unfortunately it doesn't work yet. That we'll have to see. And next off, of course, the more important issue with him right now is his Pure of Spirit ability. Pure of Spirit actually reduces damage from magic attacks and makes him immune to harmful magic effects, right? And also, Heart of Shou Lao, it's actually misspelled to Shou Lo, but it's actually Shou Lao, unlocks hidden potential. So let's talk about the first 2 bits first. Yeah, Magic type stuff, well, of course, we're talking about the Barrow Guard. Brute is probably one of the ones that you see. Pardon me. Dark Sigil, Hammering Nail, you know, all this good stuff. You see this stuff. The Scepter combo, Spirit's Edge. You know, this kind of stuff is all very, very reminiscent. You guys will see this a lot in PvP anyways. So you could expect to get lots of, to reduce the damage of Dark Sigil, of like Dark Void and stuff, and Bane type stuff. I think he's immune, actually makes him immune to magical effects. So things like immune to Dark Void is probably very strong. Immune to Bane is probably very, very strong. And I'm not okay, actually taking reduced damage from these attacks, so he's probably very, very strong, very survivable in this meta, so that is always a good thing. Yeah. Next up, of course, is the hidden potential, right? So actually, one of the other things we need to address is what kind of heroes use magic attacks. Yeah, Daemon Hellstrom, Doctor Strange, Magic, Satana. These guys, like I said, I mentioned that they are the strong meta. You could expect Daemon Hellstrom, Satana, and Magic in this next meta. You have to kind of just see that they're going to be everywhere. So, you know, Iron Fist is actually, as the Pure Spirit, is actually very good against the magic meta. That's one thing that's very nice. But he also has a lot of things that you can still do. There's also lots of weaknesses that we still need to address. But not after we go through all of his abilities first. Okay, so next up is we talk about these skills already. He has something called Hidden Potential, which you probably won't be able to see unless, of course, we click on this little logo right here. One of the reasons I'm looking at this through the wiki is this. So, his Kunlun combo becomes the 5 Fingers of Death. Right, 5 Fingers of Death now actually not only combo setups and corners the target, it has Brutal Strike, which cannot be prevented by Resurrection, Wide Open with taking additional damage from melee attack, and does Fatal Blow. These things are very, very strong. You know, Brutal Strike, you have yet one more character to deal with a Resurrection effect, which is pretty good considering Angel is going to be everywhere in this meta. So this part is covered as far as resurrection effects. Next up is White Hot Iron Fist. This thing is brutal. This thing is brutal, but actually, I mean, this is a stealthy attack for one thing, and it does True Strike, which ignores avoidance effects. It ignores defenses. It has high crits. It has deadly crits, and it exploits combos. So you could expect you to actually get a nice strong crit against an opponent, and using unarmed melee, goes through all shields, ignores avoidance effects, and goes through and goes bap. And this thing was probably expected 1-hit KO. Next up, which is pretty cool, is that this Praying Lotus. Unfortunately, how Heart of Sholau works is that Heart of Sholau has 3 rounds of cooldown. As soon as you use this, now you could only use this one once, and then it goes back and expires on the following round. You could use only Heart of Sholau and then use this, and then you have to wait for 3 more rounds to use one of these sets of skills. Praying Lotus is a very good, albeit very situational item to use. It prevents debuffs, yes. It prevents stamina, and it actually recharges stamina. The unfortunate thing is, I would rather use the Heart of Sholau attack to get either White Hot or 5 Fingers of Death, right? So, very cool, very nice situational, could save lives. This is a nice option to have. And like having, for example, Heart of Sholau, and you jump in and you're supposed to be stunned, you use Heart of Sholau, and you use the prevent debuffs on all of our allies, and it kind of saves your life. You know, it's pretty impressive. Very, very good skill to have as a last resort type thing. And you're gonna get it too, because he's kind of like the anti-stun character with Heart of Sholau. How many times have I said Heart of Sholau? Heart of Sholau, Heart of Sholau, Heart of Sholau. Yeah. Anyways. So that is Iron Fist in a nutshell. He is a very, like I said, he's very strong with Kunlun combo, Iron Fist, Healing Chi, and Heart of Sholau. Yes, I said it one more time. Okay, his strength, of course, he is very good with his potential to guaranteed damage and guaranteed ways to deal with resurrection characters. He also has is a very good at debuff removal. He's got skills that actually removes debuffs, and his new uniforms actually gives him a lot of choice. Heroic, either gonna be Bruiser or Scrapper. That is good because having him being Bruiser with Combo Breaker, probably you're gonna expect follow-up attacks from Scrappers. So having him be able to do that, he's actually one thing is that he will be able to counter against Scrappers. That's one. But secondly, he actually reduces the risk of the team by having him a Bruiser, because if you know anything about combo setup characters, most of them are Scrapper, and having double Scrapper is probably a bad idea. Anyways, that is and also it unlocks for free, so you don't have to pick which one, you know. Lots of options. Of course, like I said, his weaknesses are his flimsy body. He's got low defenses. He's good, nice evasion, but Scrappers with nice evasion don't mean very much. Yeah, and he cannot deal with this. His biggest weakness of all, he cannot deal with phased targets. And phased targets are going to be big next season, like I said. And the other thing about, of course, he has low attack and accuracy. You could expect him to have, like, for example, damage issues if you do not buff up these two areas. And his biggest downfall of them all is the setup time. Yeah. Looking at all his skills, except for these fighting particular skills, Praying Lotus, Healing Chi, Heart of Sholau, these skills use 3 rounds to cool down. 3! So you wouldn't want to use Heart of Sholau willy-nilly. You want to use it at certain opportune times when you want to get an extra turn, it gets extra damage. And using Praying Lotus you can't use willy-nilly, or Healing Chi you could use willy-nilly either, because these take a very long time to cool down. If they were have 2 rounds of cooldown, I guess he would have been broken. But really, 3 rounds of cooldown to be able to, 3 rounds before you could actually use either of these skills. Not to mention this one, saving him up for this one, and seriously, so you probably want to time this very well. You want to you need a long time to set him up. You need to set him up well, and you need to set him up to make sure that you could actually hit KO a couple of the enemy characters. And usually there are much better characters that could actually do one-hit KOs. I'm thinking of course, War Machine in his Iron Patriot uniform is much better in dealing with enemies, and he could actually deal with all enemies at once. So that point aside, very interesting choice of character. But that being said, we probably want to look, I'm talking about PvP, of course. We probably want to look at how useful is he in the PvP game. So, who goes well with Iron Fist? My first pick would actually be Nightcrawler. Yeah, him. In his swashbuckling uniform and infiltrator, he is one of the strongest defensive characters. He jumps in and he does a lot of combo setup, and he has a lot of synergy with, look at this. He actually does combo setups, exploits combos, unexpected strike, not price, and he actually chain teleports, does bleeds, stuns, weakens, slow exposed, all this good old stuff that you could do. He is actually one of the defensive paragon exploiters, and he actually had, and the best thing about Ambush is that he does not remove combo setup. He exploits combos and then deals more combo setups afterwards. So it's pretty darn impressive. Very strong, very good choice for a character on a semi-defensive note. And actually having 2 semi-defensive characters like Iron Fist and Nightcrawler together with their newer uniform actually very strong, actually doing pretty well together. And things like Noble Sacrifice, Whiff of Brimstone, applies combo set up to attackers after teleporting. Just very strong, very good choice for a defensive character. Recommended. Of course, if you want a more surefire person that actually inflicts this kind of stuff, you probably are looking at Blue Costume Quicksilver. He is much better in his Scrapper uniform. He is much better at setting up combos. Its combo setup stuff is stealthy. That is something that you need to consider. And having the 2 turns and starting off 2 turns first before anyone else is probably very strong. A very good choice indeed when working with Iron Fist. So these are the 2 characters I would recommend. However, you might want to have a look also at Wonder Man. Wonder Man is one of those characters that at first you probably don't see him working very well with Iron Fist. But first off, he is one of those characters that is defensive, and we probably need defensive characters in the team if you're going to have Iron Fist. And also, most of his attacks are unarmed melee, and he actually has healing, he has hammer making, he has rising up to actually buff himself. So it's actually a pretty strong choice when having him and Iron Fist work together. So those are the 3 characters I think work very well with him. Next up, offensive choices. So if we have Nightcrawler or Wonder Man or Quicksilver along, of course, one thing that we probably will ultimately need is a momentum generator. Momentum generator, if you can already see here, is a quick action that grants increased damage of unarmed attacks of one ally. So a well-timed momentum generator will deal lots of damage. So it's pretty good, pretty important. Next up, of course, if you want to go for a more offensive option, for example, if you're having Nightcrawler and Wonder Man and you want a nice offensive option to actually be able to target your ally, to target your enemies, I'd go with Chakra Strike. What? Really? Chakra Strike? Wasn't it like a PvP Season 5 reward? But yeah, Chakra Strike right now is actually part of the series of incursions, which is actually happening in Season 2 of Chapter 1. So you could actually fight those very relatively hard PvP battles that you find in the incursions, and you have a chance to winning the Chakra Strike. So go play Season 2 if you haven't already. It's pretty amazing, good music and such, and you have lots of pressure points you could actually deal, and it has Paragon Exploiter, which does the damage to combo setup, Dizzy, Explode, Slowed, or Stun once you follow it up. So it's a very strong choice. Yet again, very strong choice. And last but not least, of course, if Warbringer Axe, if you want to see it. But if you want to go for a more defensive build, like for example, if you want to have Quicksilver as your sidekick rather than these 2, Nightcrawler and Wonder Man, of course, remember, if you're going to pick Scrapper's Quicksilver, you probably need a Bruiser Iron Fist, just so you know. You probably want a more defensive build, and the best defensive build right now I could think of is the one with a Sinister Scepter, Sorcerer's Scepter, and Bruiser uniform. It's very strong defensive build, and also a protection effect like either Knight or something. You could hold on to one item that does a protect effect. So a Sinister, Sorcerer, Protection. I think Blade of the Guardian is one of the other character items that has a protect effect on an item. Let me get right back to you on that. Okay, Protect. This is so unprofessional. So Protect effect. Yep. So there's Blade of the Guardian. There's a Conductor. But only Defense Array, the Knight, Hoarfrost Mace, Mimic, meh. Holographic Shield is meh. But seriously, the one that I think that people most think of is probably Hoarfrost Mace. the Knight, and the Blade of the Guardian, which is one of those items that you could only get with goldy golds. So, that point being set aside, that is pretty much it for as far as this guide is concerned. So to recap, Iron Fist is probably one of those characters that it's very good, strong, guaranteed damage, nice evasive character. His uniform has a couple of choices. He has a very flimsy body, however, and cannot deal with face targets, so your team needs to be able to deal with face targets when doing PvP. And he also requires some setup time, so but that is okay because with characters requiring setup time, he's actually quite immune to damage over time effects. Okay, wow, that is a pretty long type rant about what characters about this little thing. Tune in next time for more Patches and Peeves. It's me, Biggie, and I will be back.